Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi. Oh crap, the music, YouTube. The music. It's supposed to be down when I do that. Dogs of War. Fallout 76. Fallout 76 is a game after nuclear bombs have gone off. Sorry, that's a prop. It's in a world where they created vaults and people went into vaults. The vaults were locked for a certain period. Then you go out of the vaults. Part of being raised in a vault, you're not sure of, how society is. You're a little more innocent of everything. Or maybe you're not innocent, but your vault experience shaped how you were raised, and eventually the vaults open and you go deal with the world. I'm in an area, normally I fight around the airport. It's a place I leveled up quite a bit there. And I haven't explored a lot. When I play this game all the time, I did a lot of stuff. I was into it. I'm slowly getting back into it. I like playing this game because, again, I like the aesthetic. This is another one of those games. If you saw me play Starfield, it's a game similar to that. I don't know if it's made by the same exact people, but it's from the same genre of things, which I really like. And again, this is just as much sci-fi as it's a different branch of it, but just as much sci-fi as Starfield. It's just a whole different thing, a whole different genre. And so it combines the story elements with some of the things we've talked about, and it also has the gameplay, the RPG, where you level up and do those kind of things. I have like 25 points that I could spend. I just haven't bothered spending them because, as I've told you before, a lot of that doesn't matter. It matters for the nuance kind of things. For sure, when you play the game a long time, you get a lot of benefits. For example, in something like the Division 2, you get some proficiencies that you don't have at lower levels, so you're more survivable or do more damage or what have you. But ultimately, a game like the Division 2, any game that's not tab-based targeting, World of Warcraft is a tab-based targeting. Those kind of games are games that you lock on a tab, and then the proficiency in the game is based on you picking the right commands and the right skills that have certain synergies with each other or members of your group, and that's how you deal damage. Whereas a lot of these other games are more like Destiny 2, Remnant, Fallout, Starfield are games where you're doing actual aiming. And those games are a little bit, I tend to like those a little bit more. What happens is you become more proficient in using the guns, and then the game, that takes away another, part of the game that's you might not be good at. And that's the difference. The next step up would be one of those first-person shooter games where it's more twitch-based, where you're anticipating where people are going, so people go to a certain point, you're shooting where they're going to be, and you have quicker reflexes. You can do something like that. This is kind of in between that. More for geezers like myself, YouTube. So that's what's going on here in Fallout 76. And there's different events that go on, and so I'm super cautious in this part. And I'm going to try to find a place to get around. Basically, you go loot things, you go back, sell them, and do it over and over and over again. And it makes you think about a situation like this. This is like the Walking Dead kind of scenario. You don't necessarily have zombies in this game. You have entities that are like zombies. But there's more rationale why they do the things they do versus like they have, they're dead and they're alive again. These are like things that have been radiated, so they might not, there's like ghouls, they call them, feral and whatnot. And so that's kind of how they get around that. And I don't think that's really important. There's a lot of zombie games. I think Left 4 Dead is a game I played on console for a while, and then that's not a genre that's really interesting to me. Whether you have fast zombies or slow zombies, just wasn't my cup of tea. And that's also part of a sci-fi thing. That's, like medically, things are going to be different. I haven't played this game in a little bit, so I don't have my normal weapon. Again, this is another game where you're crafting a lot, you're repairing your stuff. I had killed that guy. I was looking for his body that whole time. And I'm going to run back. And I'm still spelunking around there, trying to hit those. Those are like, they look like the stuff from Star Wars, but they're not. They're little robots. So this kind of also alternate universe where there's more robots and automated things. Like everything YouTube, what I always tell you about, lots of automated things. And so I don't really want to draw the parallels between in a future, because I don't know how society would be, and that's why you play these games, because you're hoping that just never really happens. But more so, I'd like to draw the similarities between some of the games that I play. They're very similar in what they do. And so they're just different parts of the story. Right? This is more recognizable. So like if you had a continuum of like the Division 2, maybe Fallout, maybe, you know, as you get into a Diablo, right? That's not a thing. Remnant, that's not a thing. Star Wars, that's not a thing. Ghost Recon's probably up higher on the continuum of possibilities. So we play games kind of as an escape for the story, what I've submitted to you now for the storytelling function of it, practicality of it. I'm trying to get to a higher vantage point so I can snipe. I'm also trying to be careful because I just don't want to run out willy-nilly. I'd like to get the people before they get me. So that's always a thing that you're doing in these games. If you can like, subscribe, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe, comment when available, hit the notifications, I'd appreciate it. It does help the channel. I, like anyone else that creates stuff, it's important. I was going to look up on some of this, you know, post-apocalyptic kind of things, but I don't think that's a little too straightforward. A while back I submitted to you that artists put together art that is kind of representative, you know, maybe of the world in 10 or 15 years, and I submitted that zombies are like people in nursing homes. As we switch to caring for the people in our lives and keeping them in our house to help take care of them, we put them into nursing homes and turned them into zombies. So if you looked at when this game came out and what's it trying to say, all those Fallout things, it's after the nuclear explosion, but really it might be after whatever a golden age of America is. And I say that with a lot of caveats, because the golden age for one group of Americans might not be the golden age for different other groups of Americans. And so always throughout history, there's been a leveraging of the haves and the have-nots. The have-nots want what the haves have. Some of the haves realize that maybe what they have is not the best for everyone. But it's pretty hard to tell someone, nope, you don't want to have electricity in your house or running water, right? It's really, and it's bad for the, right? No one's hearing that. No one's hearing that. So there's always going to be a tension between those two groups of people. And when you're younger, if you think about what young people, what I wanted, what my son wanted, what maybe people today want, they want a flattening of everything. They don't want someone that's had a chance to kind of have wealth passed from generation to generation. Surprisingly, those that become successful want to have that then for their offspring. So I'm suspect of any philosophy that anyone puts forth that says something's good or bad when it just really fits their narrative, because that's not very well thought out. It just, you know, I want you to do what I want you to do. And a lot of things are like that. I talked about a litmus test in kind of classical arguments, classical thoughts, classical things. those are what I meant by classical argument. It's a way to pry open a person that say, I'm pro-life, but then I believe in the death penalty. You're not pro-life. What you are is you have some moral jigsaw puzzle that you're putting together, and you believe that, which is fine to believe whatever you want, but to say, I give a broad example of what I believe in, but I fit it to a narrow thing, but I don't do that to everything, so why use a broad thing? I don't believe in hurting children. If we just riffed on that narrative for a second, I don't believe in hurting children, then pedophilia would be really stomped out in this country or across the world. We would look at that and really do something about it and put resources to fixing that. But I think sometimes we give that lip service. So I'm transitioning. That's a new thing. Sorry if you got that flash. I've gone back to the airport now. And I picked the wrong weapon. And here's what's going to happen. Here's a consequence. I use a laser weapon. I only have like 10 shots in it. I think I have my scoped rifle, which has like 900 rounds. And so I didn't even load it. So that's like a fake shot. I'll give you a quick story about me on a gun range when I was in the Coast Guard. I'm on the gun range. I'm shooting a 45 when 45 was still the main hand weapon of the United States Coast Guard. And I kept throwing rounds into the ground because I'd like kind of close my eyes and I'd anticipate the shot. So I had a gunner's mate, GM3 Cardona, Carlos Cardona, who was great. He said, okay, kid. I was a kid then. He said, okay, let me fix your gun for you. Now we're going to fix it. He took out all the ammo. So when he said fire, I'm literally like, doing that. He goes, there's not even ammo. Quit anticipating the shot. Let it surprise you. And so that worked. I could pass then. And that's kind of what I did right there. I didn't have any ammo and, I'm jerking it. And what I've noticed in games, I sometimes do that, which is idiotic, right? YouTube. That I'm in a game, there is no recoil that I'm feeling from the weapon. But I still anticipate kind of the shot. And so sometimes that's the difference between I'm equating it to reality versus the video game. And once I get past that, then I'm fine and I can anticipate all that other stuff. One of the things in shooters is that you have to anticipate where they go. How do you know you're a codger? If you're shooting where they were. So there's a bandwidth. You're a real young person. You never had to throw an apple at something or throw a rock to hit someone versus you're an old person where you think, I got it. So I end up switching to a knife. And so I don't realize, but I'm going to get like a bonus or I'm going to do a quest because I'm knifing everyone. And my damage doesn't go, I don't get damaged that much. So I'm going to start doing that because maybe my armor, which is cool because I'm half naked in the post-apocalyptic. Holy crap. In the wasteland. I'm naked, YouTube. Not naked. So I'm smoking people with my armor. Now, it's been a long time. I forgot how to repair. I need repair kits. I forgot how to make them. I could look that up, but eventually I'm going to have to figure that out, like in all the games. I think I'm level 19 here still. And I'm just smoking people right and left. I like going around and doing that. So, what's the main point? Oh my God, YouTube, my light. My cheap, free light, YouTube. The dogs of war. So I don't know why we have a fascination of playing war games or playing war, counting coup. I was watching another YouTube channel. It was talking about why humans are here. And then one of the explanations, there's reptoids that feed off our negative emotions and everything. And when I was listening to it, they said they feed off our negative emotions. I was like, well, maybe I should stop having negative emotions. Now, this is the perfect baby in bathwater thing. That's stupid that there's aliens that are getting off us having negative feelings. But maybe I should stop having negative feelings and thoughts. Anyways, that's a good thing. But because for aliens, I don't think that's a thing. So I think as you get older, I would hope that you realize some of the mistakes you made when you were younger, you can't undo them, but you can change your behavior. Not everyone's going to accept your changing of behavior. Because once you've let loose, here it comes YouTube. Once you've let loose the dogs of war, it's hard to put them back in the cage. And I have that with my family, right? I suffer from that. I think people that worked with me in the past, I'm frozen in time. And just a real quick aside, that's the difference between in the military, CO and XO. The XO is the person that is the public facing of the will of the command, right? They're the person that doles out the punishment. And then the supervisors, like when I was a BM bosun mate in the Coast Guard, I didn't have a problem telling people what time it was. That was kind of my job. So I'm not scared of doing that. Problem is, you're just doing a role. At a certain point, that's not who you are. You got to carry out the will of the command. I was a good soldier, so to speak, good sailor, but I have to carry out the will of the command. That's how this whole thing works. So that's Ronan Kazi, Unleashing the Dogs of War, trying to figure out how to put him back in the cage. YouTube. Salute. Later.